begin at 10 with our continuing live breaking news coverage from the scene of a devastating church fire. I'm Clay Loney.
I'm Lynn Casey. Shay is off tonight. Within the last hour, we've talked to church members and the fire chief.
Now, Fox 23's Rick Marinon has been on the scene for us at Claremore's Redeemer Lutheran Church for several hours. He joins us now with the changes in just the past hour, Rick.
And the flames are nowhere near what they were, but you can see we have some hot spots, and they are just continuing to dump water into this building as they try to get those hot spots under control.
I was in, but before any flames broke out.
Preparing for a sermon, Pastor Mark Berger was the only one inside Redeemer Lutheran Church when smoke gave way to flames.
It was just the initial stages of smoke. Obviously something was going on in the attic, and I called 911 at just past 5 o'clock.
Fire crews are fighting the fire from the outside only, as the roof has collapsed in numerous places and parts still standing have visibly shifted.
Once it kind of got into the attic, it's been kind of hard for us to keep it in check.
Church members living nearby are stunned to see a place that holds many memories for them burned to the ground.
Wow, it's a mess. It's sad.
You got a lot of memories in there?
My kids all went to church here. My wife is a very active member of the church.
Howard Blansky was saved here, and so were many of his family members. He says looking at the place that has brought him joy for more than 30 years, destroyed in just a couple of hours, is tough.
I'm a Lutheran and was born a Lutheran and raised a Lutheran, and just sad.
The Claremore Fire Chief tells me the entire force is on scene and are likely to remain on scene into the night as they try to save other parts of the building that the church can still congregate in.
That would be my estimate, that by the time everything's done with the water and everything else, I would estimate it'd be a total loss.
The pastor tells me the building is insured and members need to trust God on this one.
We will be okay. Christ is in control.
Crews are expected to remain out here through the night to put out hot spots like the ones you see behind me, but I can tell you, if you live in the Claremore area, 911 is still available despite there being so many first responders here. But if you do need a fire truck, you may see Verdigris show up to your call if you do call 911 for a fire truck. So don't be surprised if you see another jurisdiction come to your house while the Claremore Fire Department continues to fight all of this. Reporting live in Claremore, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
We continue our You Decide 2016 coverage tonight with one of the only reporters in Green Country to ask Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders a question. Fox 23's Rick Marinon is live with what the senator told him while he went sightseeing in the Brady Arts District. Rick.
The senator is very confident that Super Tuesday numbers here in Oklahoma will either be very close or he can squeak out a victory here in Oklahoma. And I have to say, the crowds he met in the Brady district this afternoon only boosted his confidence before he went to speak at the Cox Business Center. Dozens of Democrats and even Tulsans wanting to catch a piece of the action filled the streets in the Brady Arts District to see Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders for just a brief moment.
We just got some pizza and we're just driving around and we saw a huge crowd and then a bus, so we were just like, he's got to be here. So I mean, like, we just got lucky, walked up here, and then he walked out of the museum and I just got to shake his hand.
In the midst of the crowd and the chaos, making his way from the Woody Guthrie Center to Kaz's Chow House, the senator told me he's confident that his Super Tuesday numbers in Oklahoma will show victory. Senator, how you feel about Oklahoma on Tuesday?
Well, so far, well, we think we're going to do pretty well here.
And the senator has every right to be confident. According to RealClearPolitics.com's average of polls, he's within 10 points of Hillary Clinton and still rising. Many supporters watched and waited for their moment to see the man they want in the White House.
I didn't shake his hand, but I was actually with the last guy in the Woody Guthrie Museum. Yeah, he just came in and kind of like surprised us, but I'm going to try to shake his hand right here.
Finally, before a big speech at the Cox Business Center, Sanders turned to the crowd who waited so patiently in the street for one last rally cry.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I think we could win here in Oklahoma. Okay, let's do it.
Now, I will say there was a staffer out there who asked people who was actually a Bernie supporter and who was actually of another camp or even another party. There were some people out here who said they were Republicans. They just wanted to get a glimpse of the man who's giving Hillary Clinton a run for her money, and that's why some of the people came out tonight as well. Reporting live in downtown Tulsa, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
Either way, it's fun to see those big crowds. Rick, thanks.
New at 6, it's a high note for some downtown commuters. A piano has been moved outside, filling downtown Muskogee with more than just the sounds of traffic. Fox 23's Rick Marinon is reporting live for us with the mission behind that music. Rick.
Clay, those store owners tell me that whether it be midnight or noon, any time is a great time to catch a tune. Commuting in downtown Muskogee these days has reached a new forte, and many are starting to take, well, make notes. After being inspired by a viral online video, Lisa LaRue Baker decided it was time for a street piano of her own.
The heat we can't protect it from, and it gives it kind of a honky-tonk sound.
Lisa is a musician herself and says she's always wanted to inspire others to express their musical talents, especially children.
It's going to stay out as long as we possibly can leave it.
So when a local church had an extra piano, what was one group's auxiliary turned into another's baby grand, and with a little paint and a tune-up, it was time to change the tempo of downtown.
It was moved by a piano mover, but he actually pushed it down the street for a mile and delivered it that way.
A decision that would have overtones and overtures sweeter than any passing car.
I've seen children playing it, I've seen elderly people playing with children, and we just recently had a very successful downtown art crawl where hundreds of people played it that night.
Kobe Vincent works 2 doors down and comes out to play.
I think it's great. You know, it attracts people downtown and just something unique.
He and other Main Street Mozarts say it's a great way to escape the day-to-day bustle that crescendos in and out of life.
Especially with the changes that are happening downtown, it's just a great gem to the city.
The group is hoping to have 2 to 3 more pianos out in front of that storefront, if not more, all around downtown Muskogee. Reporting live, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
We have seen cuts to education statewide, but some are wondering if a new investment from one university that involves the air here will pay off during a time when pennies are being pinched. With a Fox 23 investigation, here's Rick Marinon.
I do pay my own tuition, so it's a little frustrating having to work more to pay for school.
Tuition went up 6% this year at Oklahoma State University, and students fear another hike is coming.
I've only got, one more year, maybe another semester, so I'm glad I'm getting out pretty soon.
But what students at America's Brightest Orange don't know is that part of their tuition went up not just in cost, but into the blue sky.
$4,000 for traffic.
I'm at $4,000.
That's because of this agreement between the City of Stillwater, OSU, and American Airlines. It establishes what is called Revenue Guarantee Air Service to Stillwater. Revenue guarantee means an airline will only fly into a small city if local officials can make sure the airline will not operate the flight at a loss. What the airline doesn't make will be made up and paid to them, usually with public funds. In this case, OSU agreed to pay American up to $1.5 million over 2 years in revenue guarantees.
A lot of good things are ahead for us. We certainly are making a lot of investments in our facilities, and that's the way we look at it, and the City Council looks at it as an investment.
Stillwater Airport Director Gary Johnson tells me the agreement was the only way to get commercial airline service to the town, hoping to expand student recruitment and boost the local economy. He says they've copied their agreement based off successes others have had, such as Mizzou in Columbia and Kansas State in Manhattan. On this particular night, there were numerous passengers aboard this plane. However, according to this agreement that we found, even if this plane flew empty, American would still make a profit because Stillwater and OSU would pick up those costs to keep the flight going. But Johnson believes hardly any of the funds will be used. The planes are mostly full and believes if there is any revenue shortfall, the payout will be small. In fact, Johnson believes the flights have been so successful so far, they may not need to disperse any funds.
Just proven to be very successful at the onset.
A spokesman for OSU tells me the $1.5 million came from the school's general fund, but OSU doesn't believe it will have to pay out all of the money because the flights have been at or near capacity. I was told by the airport that they believe a slowdown could come in the summer when students leave town, but the money used to make up the lost revenue would be nowhere near the total funds pledged.
The success that we're seeing here, we we're just going to have to see, because we're really blazing a trail here.
Oklahoma Senator James Lankford has been a staunch opponent of revenue guarantee flights, calling it a misuse of public funds. He filed a bill in Congress that would let market forces determine whether or not a city should have airline service.
We can't continue to sustain programs that are economic development jump starts in communities where historically that same program has not worked out in other communities most of the time.
I showed OSU's agreement to Lankford. He tells me he isn't going to tell the school how to spend its money, and he understands their needs.
My issue is not that we have air service into Stillwater, it's who should make the incentive to be able to pay for that.
But if the market could sustain airline service, it wouldn't have required the agreement.
This is risk that's happening on the federal taxpayer, on the counties, and in this case on the university as well. And then we'll see if American Airlines can be able to make it work.
Covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
Legendary heavy metal band Iron Maiden has landed. They're in Tulsa tonight, ready to take the stage tomorrow at the BOK Center for one of a very limited number of U.S. performances in Iron Maiden's worldwide tour. Fox 23, the only station to live stream the band's arrival at Tulsa International today. And that's where we find Fox 23's Rick Marinon reporting live after talking with some die-hard fans who were there at the airport.
Clay, those fans are still showing up here to get their picture taken with Ed Force One, even though some of them don't even have tickets to tomorrow night's show.
We haven't seen this before, so this is kind of cool. I'm really excited.
Dozens watched and waited Thursday for a different type of heavy metal to arrive at Tulsa International Airport.
Excellent. I went to Iron Maiden up in Kansas City back in 2013, thinking they'd never get here to Tulsa, and now they come to Tulsa, so I'm ready to go see them.
Iron Maiden fans, some from as far away as Ohio, gathered around the southern fence at Tulsa International Airport, hoping to catch a glimpse of their British idols, or at least their freaky flying machine. Then out of the clouds, just after 4 o'clock, the moment everyone had been waiting for. Is this the first time you've seen the plane, or yeah. What do you think? The 747-400 series, known as Ed Force One, touched down in green country to the awe and wonder of numerous Ed heads. Despite going to Oslo, Santiago, and other major world cities, Tulsa won the luck of the draw this time, and tickets sold out faster than Garth Brooks at the BOK Center. But Friday, no ticket was required as Flight 666 touched down at TIA, and fans waited for a glimpse of the pilot, lead singer Bruce Dickinson. And after waiting a bit more, many of them got their wish. And Friday night, the dream will become even more of a reality.
Me and 1,000 other people feel hugely special. There's pre-parties going on all over the place. It's pretty cool.
The BOK Center is sold out for this performance, not just people here in Green Country, but people from across America who have driven, flown, you name it, made their way to Tulsa for this one show. Reporting live at Tulsa International Airport, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
New details tonight about a stabbing in Bristow that left one teenager dead and another still in police custody tonight. We first told you about this on Fox 23 News at 5. Since then, Fox 23's Rick Marinon has been digging and speaking with friends and family of both teens. He's live with what he learned tonight. Rick.
Shay, I ran into family members at the home where this all possibly took place, and we were told that they have already heard that there's an arraignment date set on some of the charges related to this crime.
It's always tragic when you lose a young person like this.
Bristow police returned home to their families Tuesday night as they still try to put together what left one family without their 17-year-old son. Investigators found the teen dead under this bridge 4 miles east of town just as the sun was coming up. Judging by the amount of foot traffic that's been through here with all of the smashed grass and shrubbery like this, it's easy to say that whoever did this likely took this way to bring the boy's body under the bridge.
Check of the area revealed what appeared to be an altercation. We started working outward from that, learned that a person had possibly been stabbed.
Officers know a stabbing took place Monday night in the driveway of this home. I stumbled upon a family member who tells me a person of interest is Dakota Spainhauer, who was taken into custody. I dug through yearbooks at the local library and found this picture when he graduated from Bristow High. The only connection I could find between Spainhauer and the victim, who we're told is current Bristow High School senior Devin Lundberg, is their jobs at this Pizza Hut, which was closed, a manager said, for grieving.
That's wild, yeah. That's usually we have no problems around here.
Pete King lives just a few doors down and calls the incident unusual. Says the worst his neighborhood has ever dealt with is bad weather. Did you hear anything around 10 o'clock last night?
No, I did not. Nope. And I was up at 10. Went to bed about after the news.
From what we've heard from residents around here, especially those active in the school and even those who work over at the Pizza Hut, Lundberg was very active at Bristow High School, and that's why they're going to be holding a memorial service, a vigil for him at 8:30 tomorrow night. Reporting live in Bristow, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.